goes, and then I have like 3 people that I abuse, and they cut and edit the whole thing, so
Cool.
we don't have to worry about what we say and stuff. You did. Wait a minute. Let me just get it. You did a private class for 3 hours just now.
Yes. So I guess we call it online seminar. It's Lithuanian guys. They're kind of under me, or I help them. So they thought it would be fun to support me with these crazy times. So usually I visit their gyms twice a year.
Yeah.
And they're Lithuania, Estonia, so they're 600 kilometers apart.
Oh, that's pretty close.
Yeah, and so I didn't do a seminar, I think, in their gym also in spring, and now usually in the fall, in November, I go to their gym, but all the Corona stuff going on. So they thought they tried this format, and people were, even I were, more pleasantly surprised. We had people send me 4 clips, but there was, I think, 6 to 8 people, I think, participated that format, and also comments were like, people were like pleasantly more surprised that how much it helped, or was it useful or not, or how did I explain stuff. So they were maybe, it's kind of hard to explain things watching video and then explain it in a way that other person understands what they should have been doing, or so, but I think it turned out good. So so we're probably gonna do it again.
It's probably going to be the future of jiu-jitsu. Everything's going to be online.
I don't know. I still like I don't mind those things clearly during this time, but I clearly feel that physical privates I can do more. But I liked it when they just roll. They did the rolling 4 minutes, and then I just break everything down.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think in that sense, I think it was good. Good format for a exchange or for a change. Mm-hmm. It's a good format that and I didn't feel like people wasted their money, and they paid something and then they feel
you could do your part in a way, like
So, but I think for certain money, I think there's a value. Clearly, I wouldn't ask 500 euros and stuff, but for certain money, I think there's a benefits, and definitely personal, one-on-one, somebody is, is more expensive or it's more value. But I guess you can put the price on everything, and if the value is there, what the people get, so why not do them, So.
Perfect, huh? Yeah, it's weird. It's weird that we are in this time and that we're going to do like a bunch of stuff online and
yeah.
But yeah, it does continue this. There's also a lot of. That's why I also started this whole podcast. The reason was I wanted to get to know the people behind it, the philosophy, the thoughts behind it. I mean, we go online and we see 1,000,001 techniques, and the same way you were saying on YouTube. YouTube teaches a bunch of stuff, which I can't really talk about. Well, I can. Most of it is shit. And when you said it was such a relief to also hear somebody agree with that most of the stuff on YouTube works, but then works under very, very specific circumstances. So my thought was more going into like, if I talk to somebody, how to get behind the mind. Like, well, how did you get to this? How did you come? The real questions and the hard questions are coming up. I'm going to come with them. But
okay.
The idea is wanting to know what was the thought process that made you go into the jiu-jitsu überhaupt? What made you think, oh my God, there's something that I have to change, or there's something missing here. There's something that I need to get to. And
so you're asking me this?
No, not yet. I will.
Okay.
Coming to it, but that's really hard questions. And you just finished a 2-hour fucking seminar.
I appreciate that when people do podcasts, because I think I did a Facebook post about it that recently I think I've hit some invisible bar. Thursday I had 2 podcasts. One with the old rollers. And then it was with mental model guys. Oh. Then Saturday, now it's you. I done a podcast with Estonia Brown just a couple of weeks ago. So, and that I think yesterday or day before I got a invitation to talk to two Scottish guys also. So clearly my own self-perception is really lousy, you know. I think I'm nice and making jokes, and people always say, dude, you're the most serious, weird dude I ever met. You never smile. I was like, I don't think of myself like this, you know. And so I have no clue how I'm perceived. But clearly I make it look way more serious than I actually am. And I'm happy that I'm past certain threshold that people want to talk to me, you know.
Now they want to talk to you. They just don't want to. Man. You're funny. Yeah. I mean, when I met you in the seminar, I immediately thought you're funny. And I recently discovered, because I was watching your videos and stuff like that, I recently discovered you. I didn't hear about you, and then I heard about you through Raul a little bit. And then we did the seminar, and I'm like, oh, well, let me dive into all the material I can find about this man. And then and now you became officially my favorite person after I saw the hawking move.
Yeah, the hawking.
The name for it requires a special kind of humor.
I know. I actually think it was funny. I even remember
It's hilarious.
The seminar. It was SPG, I think. SPG, not Yugoslavia, but SPG Slovakia or something. It was one SPG seminar. We were with John Cavan and me. I was part of SPG like a long time, but I remember actually the seminar when I asked John, like, John, what do you think, Stephen Hawking? Let's call it this. John was like, okay, you know. So, but now it always goes. What kind of throws? What I always have to say, because the listeners and stuff. Is I always say I talk to people, you know, I say, okay, call it Stephen Hawking, then it's a dead silence. You know, people are like, oh shit, you know, that, you know, he made a really bad joke. And then I'm usually always adding, you know, that, you know, the guy was a genius, so is this move. and then people are super confused that, oh, now, so in their head I was making a fun something else. And so I always go like, Hawking, you know, this kind of very smart thing to do, kind of boxing and stuff. So this move is a genius, and, you know, so is the guy. And I was like, okay, that's the reference I use. So whatever happens in your head, it's in your head.
Okay, I took it the worst way possible, and I still think it's hilarious.
but that's the joke, because but that's the joke, that you can take it kind of in a you know, both ways.
You can take it both ways. I don't think it's bad. I think it's an amazing thing. It does look a lot like hockey.
I know.
And by the way, after I saw it, I started doing that shit, and I was mostly amazed that it actually does really fucking work. So your shit is definitely legit. I've been training not too long. I've been training a while, but
how long?
I've done. Let me see. I got 9 years now. 8 and a half, 9 years.
It's already something.
It's already something. It's a nice beginning, right?
Yeah. So for some people it's beginning. For some people it's the end. You know.
Oh no! I thought when I got black, I thought this is the end. I had a little stop. I don't know if this ever happened to you. I had something, because I really wanted to reach black belt, and then when I got it, it was like, now I'm depressed. And I actually was. I was like 4 or 5 months looking at the world, going like, well, I dedicated the better part of 8 years to this, and now I have it, and now it's weird. Now I don't have anything else to do. Now I'm coming back to it, and I'm happy again. But it didn't hit me like a little bit hard. I went like inside.
But that's also very common. You hear that all the time. You know that I always forget his name, so I'm sorry. You know the famous heavyweight boxer who actually won the fight and then fell into depression, got really fat?
Oh, are we in the Rocky movie, the same guy, Tommy Gunn? No, Tommy. I don't know, a couple of years ago, they had a boxing match. The Gypsy King that fought against Deontay Wilder now.
I don't know. I'm really bad with names.
Me too. I know who you're talking about.
So
wait. Let me look at my Jamie. Tyson Fury.
Yes. And so Joe Rogan, I think, and everything. I don't know the exact story, but as much as I've heard, is he had a fight, he trained for it, everything was for it. There was no life after that. Everything was for that time. And after he won, he actually fell into depression because there was no goal. And then he got super fat. In that sense, obese, and it was health issues and stuff. I think that was a story. And then he got on a fight. And then he got back in shape. He was feeling the will to put one foot in front of the other. He got back from the hole, and I think he talked about it, that you need certain you need a purpose in your life, or you need something to you have to be a fan of something, or So if you just pointlessly wander around, you don't see you're useful to somebody or don't find a purpose, then it seems like it's easier to fall into that dark place.
True.
And so that's kind of what happened to him. So and this kind of feeling, after the black belt, people have those things, that they think it's they think it's something, but then they get it, and it's like, I thought it was something bigger, But point was, like, you were already there. So if it just even before the black belt, like yesterday, like you would consider, if you get tomorrow black belt, you were already yesterday there. But just, and then usually it's not like, you weren't there and then it's a black belt and then you're there, that somebody just carried you 500, meters or whatever, but you were already there.
You were already.
And so that's what people, that's why I don't like about belts and all those things also, in a way. I think there's place for them. But also, if we mystify them too much, if we make them something they're not, then it's could be not so good for people. I think there are good markers. I think definitely there's value in those things. But if you put everything there, all your life kind of emotions and everything, and then I think it can be a little bit dangerous, So in that sense, I think it's our responsibility as people that, have walked this road before, is to do it differently than maybe we experienced it, that we already know what's the psychology and stuff, and that maybe we present it to people better, we don't make people so much goal dependent, and we don't, godify all the black belts and stuff, and they're like, oh, the more stripes you have black belt, the more smarter you are. No, it's. I think people don't know, and then they see more stripes and then red belts and those stripes, and those guys, they have to know even more. It doesn't guarantee that, and so I think we have to be open about it, and I think even in future, I would expect younger generation will be changing certain things in a hierarchy structure later. Because those things were done when times were different, and I think it could be also, argument that maybe we should do it differently. Then so yeah, so but I think that's for younger generations, and I think that adaptation part is good. If something doesn't change, it would die. So I think always the argument I have: what was the likelihood that people figured out the best representative system for belts early days? So the argument is it's unlikely that we figured out the best system, That's why we have evolution in Jiu-Jitsu, that people didn't figure out everything, Right now the evolution has been crazy, and still these days people haven't figured out stuff, and we can still do better.
Yeah.
So the argument is that the system we picked and the black belts and the years and whatever, how we do it, it could be argued that it was a system that was put in place some decades ago, and maybe we should take another look at how the system is presented. Maybe we can tweak it a little bit here, there, make it better, make it more fair. So that's always, I think, if something is like, no, it's fixed, I think that's the dangerous part.
Absolutism, that is, that's not speaking in absolutes. That's always dangerous. That's
But I always know that our authority will always want to keep it this way, and then that's what always life happens. That younger generations come and then ruin everything for older people. They challenge all the rules. They do this. They want to do it differently. So I think it's a wonderful, wonderful battle.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I do see the tendency of us looking backwards and always seeing that how wrong we did. So if we look,
it's always been like this.
Huh?
It's always been like this.
Yeah, we always look backwards, and that's something. Well, then I have to go into psychology or no, philosophy. But well, I think C.S. Lewis mentioned it, saying that if the more we look backwards, there's always something wrong with previous generations. They did that wrong, and they did that wrong, and they did that wrong, and eventually we're going to become the generation that did it wrong.
Yeah, maybe, jokingly you can call them wrong and everything, but I think they. I don't think it's totally true to say they. Very, very politically correct would be they did the best they could. And I don't think every person's intentions are the best as possible. Some people are dragging it down, some people are pushing it forward, but overall, I think. It is what it is. It's still a progress. Any other field you can see it in jiu-jitsu also, I think. And I don't say completely wrong. I think it's just easier to, if you see that complexity, what is actually is evolution and how it's getting better, and what things could be fixed. I think it's just the oversimplification that you usually have to come with a disclaimer that if I say wrong, what it actually means. It's not like in a bad way, but something to fix, something to try, thrive for, something to do better, but wrong not in a wrong and right wording, so to speak. But sometimes it's so hard to explain everything, so it's just wrong. It's sometimes easier to say amongst people that understand each other. Yeah,
they go like, wrong. Well, I get it. I do get it. I do get the whole system is a little bit freaky. In a way, I think we're in that period that we're going to see this big change coming up.
What change?
In jiu-jitsu, in overall grappling and everything like that. I see you coming up, and it's if people want to know more about you, I'd say go on the website. It's in the. By the way, I went on the website, man. The defensive jiu-jitsu stuff looks amazing. By the way.
Amazing. Anyway,
amazing.
So I think some people have gotten the email. They get past the front page that is a countdown, and some beta testers. But for a public, I think I don't know what time actually, but the date is 5th October, so Monday. Then we open it for a public, and hopefully there should be 50 something plus, 55 something plus videos. This online seminar that we just did, 2 hours and 40 minutes, this can also be up there. So for people to see and people to learn from those guys what they did. So site's gonna be up. I think it's gonna be already enough information, because clearly it's gonna be $14.99 and 12.6 euros for a month. So I think for that value, there's more than enough stuff there. And I didn't put like all the sections that I wanted to put out there. There's a videos that some kind of section will go deeper and some are more shallow or some are missing. But I think it's enough at the moment. And then we start to build it. The grilled chicken open guard is not there yet, so we're gonna put it there. So everything can add.
It's a bargain. It's cheap for 12 euros. It's a bargain. Everybody that's listening should get it.
So that's the point. Kind of we can always go high, but I guess I'm not the guy. So I have a business partner. So I'm the more content creator, and the other business partner is building it, advertising it. So he's the guy. So that's his thing to figure out. But we took more like a Netflix price, similar that we want to reach more people. So even sometimes I'm not trying to be like downplay my site, because I think there's value anyway. But sometimes in Netflix there's nothing on sometimes, and you still pay your 10 euros, and because it will come, that some bundle will come or some site series will come. So the 10 euros will not bother you, you know? So it's not like, 25, 30 euros a month. If there's no value, you start to think about it. So at the moment we went with this, so to build a customer base, to get more feedback.
Yeah.
Because if you put, higher price, 100 euros, you have to deliver something, magical. But when you start like this, then also I think the in a way expectancy level is different. And then we start to grow, and then we'll see how it evolves. But so that will be like, but I wanted to keep it more available because I'm trying to reach a lot of people with this, white belts, blue belts, recreational people, older grapplers. I'm not trying to talk to, I guess everybody benefits, also competitors, but I'm not trying to talk to a lot of, high level grapplers, so to speak, that are very competitive driven. I can talk to coaches, all those things. And I get a lot of messages from older grapplers that they say, like, the positions I advocate, they let them survive better against younger guys, and they can enjoy jiu-jitsu way more. They know their limitation. They can't win them, but it's still, they can be around, and still enjoy the sport. So I get really kick out of this kind of feedback usually, that because they said if I would go toe to toe with this, go head to head with the young guys, they would lose, but I just survive and do what I can, but I can still do jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
And so I feel that's very valuable. So definitely I have my audience there, and we'll see who else is interested, because we try to go like how to teach techniques, how to learn techniques, how to teach a class. There's going to be a class templates, why warm up, my ideas, that like a broad view that I'm not, setting in stone. But if you can do already this, like Raul did, in his class of when we taught inside Senkaku, that I would take that formula. I can make basically one first day guy make an inside Senkaku from X-guard. And the results were really impressive. Even Raul was like, oh shit, I actually made him pull it off. And so there's definitely a formula that I'm not saying is the best, but it's a good start. And then you can, work with that. So teaching techniques, teaching class, learning techniques on your own, what to do. Definitely some rants, some ideas, some thought process. Yesterday I already filmed, I think, 3 videos about it that I just talked 10 minutes or something. So the site's going to be, defensive side of this things. And then it seems like very niche, and some people think it's like my style. I promote my style, but I'm saying that it happens to be my style is similar because that's my research. I'm interested in those things, but I'm definitely not gonna advocate that people should just lay on their backs and play turtle or nothing else. That I'm just saying that this side of the jiu-jitsu is underfunded, is understudied, and this is my way to contribute to the sport I love, and people can fund my studies. So I treat it like this, that I don't know when I'm gonna, I'm always gonna invent and innovate and whatever. I'm gonna fix stuff, and I don't know when those packages will come out. But this is people's way to, fund this kind of research. And my job is to provide certain ideas. And so far, people can already see my history, that I have provided certain things. I'm not, starting right now and give me my money. I've done things. I have innovated. I have helped. So there's a trust that I can do it again. And so I treat this site like you guys are funding my research.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You treat it more like a science project. In a way.
I don't know how else to take it, because otherwise it would be like a ego site.
Yeah.
Like because I don't what every site can be, and I don't like it, is there's like I clearly know that I have my opinions and why I do things, and people can do a running man and turtle differently. But then it's debate why this is good, this is bad. It's not going to be like 2 turtles are right in the same time. We can debate about it, and one is better in one time, one is better other time. So I definitely have the authority card, because if you build the system, you can always change it, and I know where it came from, and people who are doing what I do will always mimic me a bit. And if they mimic little bit more, they cannot change the system because they don't know how it's built. So that's why I keep changing Running Man. I changed the Hawking a bit. And, some people have said, oh, I felt something was off anyway, but it's hard for them to change things because they don't know how it's built.
Right.
And for me, it's like a science project that I really like to think about. It's like funding the research, and then we have certain authorities there that I'm at least clearly one of them there that can have their opinion, do this, do that. But people can also, there's also forums and people can talk about it. So it's not, I don't like it's only me. And then it's going to be about me. That's why it is like an online coaching by Priit, but the name is not Priit Jiu-Jitsu,
It's this whole group.
It's a defensive BJJ,
Oh,
and so it's a more open. So people, maybe I have more people joining as authorities to the site in the future. Right now it's me. We make it work. Then maybe I start to work with some people more. I don't know. So it's the name is open, and then it's a very niche, and really gives everybody opportunity. And clearly, I would say I have certain say there. And I do all the videos and stuff. So it is a bit about me, but it's still about the research.
Beautiful. I was watching it, and it's amazing, man. I'm gonna jump away from this just for a second, and because there's also a whole list. I asked people. I had the amazing one of the people that do the editing for me and the sound guy, Andra. He had the amazing idea to ask questions on Instagram who had questions for you, and the list of questions that came in, the list of stupid questions I had to filter through was amazing.
It's always I'm always like surprised that the bad thing would be you ask a question and nobody asks anything, Then you go like, oh shit, and then you have to make a good face here, like, oh, I had hundreds of questions, but I'm happy that somebody actually wanted to ask something.
Oh, so many. Well, one of the things that one of the people that work with me wanted to ask was, and that's what I also wanted to know, why the tattoo on your arm? Why so serious? Does it have a reason?
So, yes. I was in Portland when I did it. This one is Iceland made.
Oh,
and other is Portland. So let's say the Dark Knight, the second part, is one of my favorite movies.
Oh, shit.
It's I don't know, I'm not saying one of the best movie I've ever made, but it's very alike. And also this, why so serious in this manner? I've heard this question towards me, like right now, even over 15 years.
Yeah.
Before this tattoo is at least 6 years old. But before I did it, sometimes I was visiting gyms in Ireland and all those things. I sat around and people go like, dude, why so serious, And they actually asked me this. And when I saw, because previous Jokers, they didn't have that why so serious thing in, I think, Batman movies. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, I want to have a tattoo. And then I was like, what do I have? And what is me? And what is represents me, not just random thing that's totally fine, but I wanted like meaning, like a first tattoo, or I think it was second maybe, just meaning,
Yeah.
And I think this was actually first. I think I don't know. And so the Why So Serious and Joker is one of my favorite movies, and the Why So Serious and all the rebel that Joker is. And so it's you can find some more philosophical reasons, and you can go like, even maybe you can find something you haven't thought about it. Oh, it also makes sense. But I think good movie, Why So Serious, and kind of the rebelism of the Joker. So why not?
Why not? Yeah, man. Why so serious? It's actually a good tattoo, because I saw it there and I was about to ask it, and then kind of forgot about it, and then Andra came up with it. Yo, ask him about the tattoo, man. Let's know more about Priit.
I've been stopped. What's the TSA? Yeah, the airport stuff. Yeah, TSA.
Yes.
You go to metal thing and stuff.
Is that in America or here in Europe? In America.
I don't know. I've been stopped. I think 3 times for sure, even maybe 4, 3 times for sure that I went through. I was like, stop. I was like, oh shit, show me the tattoo.
Oh,
and,
shit.
Yeah, and they just stopped me in a TSA, and they just wanted to say, just to see the tattoo. I was like, whew, you always get nervous or something. And so that was always fun, but when those things happen.
Oh my God. And then you just clench a little bit and go like, oh no, I hope they don't search me.
So that don't happen. But so I don't know if I do any more, but this is actually somewhere someone is working in a factory.
Oh.
So that's what it says. It says that somewhere someone is working in a factory, and the end is what's not written is, but not me.
Oh.
And so
what does it mean?
It means that I should never complain about my life.
Oh fuck yeah, that's definitely.
And so somewhere someone is working in a factory. It means like in a really bad factory, like I don't know, cents an hour or something. That people have worse lives than me.
Yeah.
And so if I ever start to complain about something in my life that my life is so hard, if I ever start to think that too seriously, I have that to remind me that not all things are bad.
That's actually going good. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful way of saying it. This is a nice way to seeing it. How did you get into? Let me pop back into a little bit of jiu-jitsu. Why the hell did you start with jiu-jitsu? I remember you when we were together. You were telling our story. Like, I have an idea, a very vague idea, that you said like Estonia was. You grew up in kind of Russia before.
I make that joke.
You have a little bit of Russian in you, and you don't smile because of that. It costs too much energy.
Yeah. So the usual jokes I do, I'm when I say I'm part Russian, I say it more jokingly.
Yeah.
Because we were part of Russia as a country.
Yeah.
And I actually like to call myself an islander. It's a long story that I actually till this day I like to differentiate myself. There's a mainland Estonia, there's an islander Estonia.
Yeah.
They're one of the Estonian big islands. So for me, it's important. I know some people say, who cares? But back in the day, that meant more. Our biggest island.
That. No, but that's actually interesting. You were like, those were Vikings, right? That's the story.
Yeah. Well, so that's my mother's maiden name, like a coach, was some Viking tradition kind of saying. Whatever, the one guy actually studied our history, so to speak, and actually my mother's maiden name, like a coach, came from some Viking tradition that was named Kauts, but then they named it, they changed the letters in later. So I have that history. So, and I'm Estonian and everything, but like Russian times, definitely I was 91, so I was 14 when we got independence.
Yeah.
And I've always been alone. I've always been a loner, so I'm kind of like in that spectrum. And I never had a lot of friends. I think I have maybe one guy that maybe was my friend in a main school. I was always, I told that story already. I think to someone recently that I was. What saved me, I think, was a basketball.
Yeah.
That I started to play basketball in third grade, and we had mini basketball and then adult basketball. So you played as a kid. So that was my escape, and I was let's say in that age group, I was Estonian best player. I was very obsessive about basketball, so that was my escape.
Wow.
And I think that was that's why I was also, I think, less bullied and everything, because people needed me to play in their team and stuff. So I had a reason for them to like me more. I guess I'm not traumatized, but I know I'm socially weird. I never had usually you sit with somebody next to you in a classroom. I always sat alone. So I don't mind also those things, but so what else? So basketball ended, and then I went to technical school because my mom didn't let me go to high school because she's a teacher and she thought that maybe I would not do good because I wasn't dumb, but I wasn't also motivated. And then I met some people that trained Aikido and karate, and then in some point, my dad wanted to make a man out of me a little bit also. I wasn't a pushover, but still I was a little bit soft. I was a little bit chubby also. I think I wasn't obese, but I was clearly overweight, and I was a little bit chubby. So that's why also I had an easier time because I played well, because people bullied me less. But still things happened. And then I was 17, I think I went to karate. And then I took Aikido at the same time. So I trained karate, I think 3 times, and Aikido twice a week. Okay. And then my coach died, and then we already did some soft stuff. And I don't know, again, the history with years and stuff, but I know I was also Tai Chi teacher. I had a groups. We did Michuan, Tai Chi, Chuan. That's the teacher came from US, and he was also like Scott Rodell. So, and then I ended that, and then we went to Wing Chun because it was familiar, and it was kind of best thing after karate because they were so violent, and street fighting and poking the eyes and stuff. And so I did that probably 6 years. I changed teachers, I think 4 times. And finally I found a teacher from Lithuania. And then I ended up leaving him also because the whole system, everything kind of is a pyramid scheme. Anyway, and then 2005 February we left. I explained everything to people, why I do that, what's the kitchen side of things. We call it kitchen side, like a backstage. Mm-hmm. What is the things they don't know? Why I have to lie to them? And it's the traps and stuff, and why I can't teach them certain things. And blah, blah, blah. So we left 2005 February, and 2005 May, we did our own club. 3D training, that's 3 distance, short from stand-up clinch and ground. So 3 distance, 3D training. And that's the rest of the history. And then we started. We never had our own gym. Always rented times from judo halls and stuff. So we always wanted like a nice building, so to speak, and showers and stuff. And I know some people sacrifice that for their own building, and they start without showers and all those things. So, and now 3 years ago, right now, 2017 August, we got that big gym. Yeah. With 1,000 square meter, 550 square meters or something, mat space, cage. So, that's the history that we started, I think, in 2000, 2001, and right now it's 2020. So that's a short history, so to speak. Overnight success, 20 years of making, overnight success.
20 years in the making, at least.
Yeah, so, and also the Jiu-Jitsu started this way, that we had another Wing Chun guy in the early days, was a former Sambo guy. So he did, first he showed me Sambo, I really liked it right away. I wasn't like, oh, it's ground fighting, and I just liked it, I don't know why. And then he did some seminars, and we still did, I think, some karate stuff, but I know some seminars here and there that we tried also some grappling, knee pads and a wooden floor. And then it grew from there. And then it was definitely the VHS, Royce Gracie, VHS, UFC 1 to 4, we watched that. So that gave us the, some of us the final push. And then from there we went, and then we, got it. Then we went away, I think, from the Sambo and more Jiu-Jitsu, that Jiu-Jitsu techniques and the DVDs we got from internets, and the information was scarce, and then we traveled to Finland to compete, and then blah, blah, blah. So the rest was history. And so it's a crazy start. And then also, I think the story I have to tell that we did also bloody Thursdays each month, one Thursday or once in 2 months, when we put helmets and all the things on, and we fought in a Wing Chun class. But the grapplers people that knew grappling, they had a major advantage, and they ended up winning most fights that we had. So, and this was also a turning point, that we do those Wing Chun stuff, and they always tell us that, we have to do 10 years more for it to work. And then you just literally, you see a double leg and you can do it in a fight. and it right away works. And that correlation would go like, oh, something's not right here, And so all those things slowly pushed us away, and then then ended up doing jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and boxing, and all those things. So, like, I think it's all my start is also similar to other people in my age group. In those, like I said, that Steven Seagal, Van Damme, Bruce Lee, they started with some traditional martial arts, and then came jiu-jitsu, and and then usually it's very similar.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I see it. It's a similar story that I hear, that people usually start in one martial art, and then they saw UFC, and that's when everybody went like, oh, this might be important. My case was I saw it. I heard it was because I already knew it existed, but I never thought it would be working. Also because I was at the time I was doing Taekwondo, and then I eventually went to boxing because my father was a boxer. And then it was out of nowhere. I went I went to this gym to try the jiu-jitsu, because why not? I got my ass handed to me completely. I was treated like a child, and then I was like, all right, this is how it is. This is how it works, and this is what I'm going to do the next couple of years, nonstop. It was
because I think people had similar experiences. But the funny thing is that what my funny thing, how would I explain this? That people can still do boxing or taekwondo, but the way people were thinking about fighting was weird. That they thought that was enough, because if you clearly do boxing or taekwondo, totally fine, do it, like it, know its limitations, that what it's good for, what it's not, and you're not gonna go to grappling gym and pretend, oh guys, I will just kick you in the head, or MMA fight, but that's very dangerous. So I find the more those other arts are keeping people in a bubble, and that's very, very dangerous. That because I don't mind if people do other stuff, they should just know what it's for, and don't bring stupid arguments in an adult table. And whatever you do, good for you. You're moving. Jiu-jitsu is definitely not best ever. But I find earlier days, these days less, but it's still people are surprised. But these earlier days, I think people thought that taekwondo was enough. That you could have a fight, and what is a ground fighting? You can't take me on the mat. So that is a really bad attitude to have. That you don't know your own limitations, and then you think like, this is the best I have. And I find these days it's more scarce to have that attitude. That it's very destructive. That will be like a paradigm shift for in your head, like, oh shit, whatever I done, And I even like sometimes, I'm not talking about you, but sometimes I would say like if somebody gets their ass kicked, they've done some stand-up martial arts 20 years, they don't know, and they get their ass kicked. I don't think it's always necessary for you to change whatever you did, because now you're just aware of your limitations, and now you correct your attitude, and you still keep training that art, maybe, because I don't think it's necessary to change right away, but people can definitely, because they start to like jiu-jitsu and all those full-on grappling, and you can always go like a really strong, like a full-on. But definitely, if it's more like a fantasy-based, and you don't spar, and then they kick your ass, and then your kind of world crumbles, So there's different stories here, but for most people, I think that 80s, 90s, I think it was kind of like a wake-up call, like that we don't know anything about fighting.
It's changed. It changed the whole game. I also think that there's. What also attracted to me a little bit later on, what I've noticed was it was physically and mentally better for me, because I actually got into, because every day was sparring. There was something completely different. Yeah. And it was an expenditure of energy that was different. Like trying to fuck each other up was fun. It's manly. I don't know how to say it. It was good for, let's say it like this, it was good for the testosterone in a way,
Yeah.
to get into those situations. I think every man should grapple. there's like boxing is fun and all of that, but you get hit a lot. It's different kind of fighting. I think getting hit in the face, getting kicked and stuff like that, it's good. There's something about grappling that just maybe because it's by this point it should be in our DNA, because every single culture has something in grappling.
But I think it's I agree with you in boxing and everything, kind of like, somebody, like, I don't know, I'm not saying every real man should take boxing 6 months or something, but it's fun to have that, against the, somebody doesn't know boxing, you can have like this matrix stuff, you understand, if you really train boxing for 6 months or a year. But I think somebody said it, I think it's a quote, and it's not my thought, wrestling is one of the, safest ways to set an argument that nobody gets injured, so to speak. You don't have to, you can clearly hit each other, somebody in a head forward to the, asphalt or something. But basically it's a not harming way to settle a physical conflict that will leave somebody winning, somebody losing, but doesn't injure them so much.
That they, yeah. That's a beautiful way of seeing it too.
Yeah, so it was
an argument. Now you just
it's physical confrontation. Let's wrestle. Let's do it.
Let's solve this.
Yeah, because that's what when villages or whatever. I'm speculating right now because I don't know those histories. But somebody had the argument. It doesn't make sense to hurt anybody or kill anybody. The village loses as a protective shell. But you have some arguments, and then you do, and one guy is better than others, but nobody has to get injured, and the working arms or protective arms has, now we have less efficiency, People still need to work and do stuff. And if you injure somebody else, I think it's burden for a community more to have that kind of stuff. But if you have wrestled, that's in some way, it's not real, and punching would be way harder. Even, the winner would be even more respected. But I think that the trade-off is worse because then you have more injuries and all those things. And I think it's a fine, kind of weird trade-off that I get to win a physical confrontation, but nobody also gets injured. So we can still, live on. Also, you see those things in with those, let's say, dragon lizards. They wrestle each other. And really you have to go behind, and then somebody's lost. And they don't even use their claws. You can watch that in some nature channel. They don't use their claws that they could actually use. And they don't bite. They could bite each other, claw each other, but they won't. They just wrestle. And if I beat you, go behind whatever I do, then I win and you go away. Yeah. So even those deadlier kind of lizards, they don't hurt each other.
No, because it's senseless. It's senseless. There's something, there's definitely something. You see it in every single culture. Every single culture has some kind of wrestling. Some kind of takedown, some kind of bringing, some kind of the wrestling move. It's important, man. It's amazing. So now
let's go. I will also tell you, I don't want to rush you, but I will have time only till 4:15.
Oh, we have enough time.
Yeah, because I booked my.
If we don't end this today, I'll call you.
Yeah, we have 1.5 hours, so don't worry.
Oh my God, there's people. Let me see. I have questions here. Can I ask you the question?
Shoot.
Why is Will from Iceland your favorite student?
Did Will ask that question?
I cannot say. I agreed with everybody that I will thank everybody that's in the question, but
I think it sounds like Will himself asked that question. But let's say, I'm always conflicted. Do I have to answer with a joke, or do I tell Will really like, Will, stop it? You're not. But Will is a fun guy. Will is a fun guy. In many ways, I'm not saying he's my favorite student. Yeah, but Will is a fun guy. He's very young. I think he's 21 or 22. So I'm 43. Yeah. So. And in many ways we're similar. He's also he can be serious, His jiu-jitsu is quite good, and he can be serious, but he can be also goofball. Yeah, so he can say something really silly and then laugh from the heart. So I really enjoy kind of like, let's say, working with him because he We were together first time in a camp. I was in, I think, Caribbean camp many years ago. And then after that, he kind of, approached me in a way that Priit, can you be, I don't know, one of my mentors or something, yeah? So, and I was like, well, why not? I don't know how it works out and what I do. But when we meet in Iceland camps, in Globetrotters and stuff, and then we have a chat and then we roll a bit. So he has his own road and I have my own thing, and then we communicate, and he clearly likes what I do and the defensive side of things, and maybe the way I coach, and I can teach him in that way. I don't like mentorism as absolute, that only I follow that guy. I think I cannot give it all. So I'm clearly not developing, attacks and everything else. I think in a way I can. In a way I am, because I'm developing defenses, and that helps to people understand attacks also more. So in a way, they clearly, if he attacks me and stuff, then if I escape the armbar, he knows more than about armbars also, because I can help him fix stuff also when he's attacking. But overall, yeah, Bill, you're not my favorite student. I don't think I even have one, but I clearly enjoy his company, and I clearly enjoy, and I really I'm humbled, or whatever I can say. I don't say those things, I think, often enough, or I don't want to say them often enough. That it really was, humbled, or kind of that he asked me this, that can I, that he saw I was something valuable, that he wanted my help. And so I always appreciate that when people see that. And then it makes my kind of, gives me purpose also, that I'm actually doing something important and it's getting noticed. And clearly you're not going to ask somebody to mentor you if you just don't like what they do, But Will would be that guy that he would just go like a really bad joke. Priit, I don't like you at all and your techniques. I'm going to make a good joke. I'm going to still ask you to be my mentor. So I think that would be Will's way to make a really good joke.
Oh, God. Oh, by the way, the whole Globetrotters thing in the IBJJF, that was some bullshit. Honestly,
yes.
I used to like the IBJJF, but the more time passes and the more other competitions bring up and appear, the more I start to have the Brazilian word for it is ranço, and that means like I want to throw up.
Yeah,
It's getting weird. It's getting weird. I mean, the prices of it are getting too high. People are getting too weird. I don't know if I want to join it anymore or be part of it in any way. Because that used to be the only thing I did. Like IBJJF top, that's what I'm going to do. It's the only thing I'm competing.
I think they're pushing the limits, and it's us as clients, because they can't do shit if the clients will leave. I know they're creating a value, and there's like a good competition, and if you win something, it actually means, because the competition is high. But I think there's enough competition around, different organizations doing stuff. And in a way, in some point, I don't think the point is yet there for most people, but I think sometimes comes the point when most people, critical mass, will have enough. They will do something that go, okay, now I can support this.
Yeah.
And right now they're still like, okay, they're not doing the right thing, but I still like to compete there, because there's a trade-off for people. So, but we'll see what they do. Maybe they fix it. Maybe they just do whatever they do, or maybe they mess up. So people that's what usually things start. You make something bad, and then they go, okay, I cannot support this behavior. And so I don't think that you should be like, oh, I wait for IBJJF to fuck up. I'm not going to say that. But clearly, there's no democracy in there. And clearly, we could do better. And clearly, they're not as efficient or forward-thinking that they could be. Because the rules and everything else, and how things are done, and the refereeing problems and all those things. I think maybe compared to what they do is a small thing, but it's still, constructively criticizing them is not a bad thing. So they have their issues, So
and seeing it from the point when I was there, it's they have this iron grip on Brazil because, let's say like this, in most of the dudes that train jiu-jitsu, they're not rich. They want to do this to get out of Brazil in a way, you know. And what is IBJJF, or CBJJ there, CBJJ? It's your ticket out. It's your ticket to America. It's your ticket out to the United States. So you know they won't talk bad about it, and they have this iron grip on Brazil. And then they're sending it out all over the world, you know. And it's your way out. It's your way to travel. It's the way for you to leave a poor situation and go into a better one. And I get it. Which brings me to the next one, ADCC. Yes. And I don't know who said this. Are you into competing still, or?
Not really. I'm old and I'm fat.
That's right. But really, guys, if you got that, that's the answer. Would you want to compete in ADCC?
Why not? I've never said never, because it's just about, you know, getting in shape. But I find I'm more that my excuse is, I know it's excuse. My excuse is that I do my research, and I'm you know, active on my site, and I travel in the world doing seminars. So clearly my life is not set up the way that it allows me to compete in certain level. And I respect the competition a lot, so I would not go there unprepared. You know?
Oh, I have a problem.
Yeah, räägime kiiresti, palun. Yeah, so I respect it. And my excuse is I'm luckily involved with my research, so I don't have to compete. And also people say, but Priit, competing would be the best proof that your things work. I would say that argument is flawed. And I would say, you know, like, I'm not comparing myself to Danaher, you know, so just take it with a grain of salt, whatever. But he's not also doing his stuff, yeah? He has people doing his stuff. So because there are certain limitations. He has his injuries and stuff, clearly. So I'm more involved in my research, doing stuff in a gym, rolling around with people, testing it in camps against black belts and stuff if I have to. So I know what I can do. I know what it is. Yes, I haven't tested it against the world-class level athletes. Yeah, I know it's a different beast, but I'm accepting that trade-off, and then maybe building up a next generation of people that actually can do this in a young age already and can test it. Because there's argument that ultimate test would be this, but also the argument would be that it's not actually necessary to test it. We have to go to a certain level to understand, yeah? And then if it works against average black belts and all those kind of fights, you know, and then if people get tired, then it stops working. So that's not an argument, because people got tired. So I understand why people want to do it, because, oh, Priit, why are you not doing it? But that's not the ultimate proof. The ultimate proof, can everybody else replicate what I do? Can they do it? And that's how scientific method works. It's not me. Actually, better thing for it to work is, can other replicate my results? So this is the scientific method, yeah? Like, you know, somebody does an experiment, oh, it worked for me. Can you do the same in your lab? Then we have two examples of these things working like this, you know, like as a scientific some breakthrough. So actually, the stuff I get from outside me, people trying things, the evidence seems to be like, you know, favoring that we're doing the right thing anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It definitely, what I've already tried from the camp feels like it works. And I'm not going to say which competition I'm going to go to, but I'm going to go soon to a very competition, and I'm basically only going to try that. Let's see how many people I can get very angry. I have. Let's get through the questions, because I know that we have a bit of time.
Go.
Let me see this. Where's the other one? Does it work in MMA? I got that question 3 times. Would you use it in an MMA scenario?
Good question. Only evidence, because clearly I don't fight in MMA, yeah? What we have. The evidence we have is Robert Whittaker, Jacare. Let's say Jacare couldn't take his, back and everything. Jacare Robert Whittaker uses turtle in actually MMA fights a lot. There's 8 minutes of turtle breakdown that Sonny Brown Martial Arts did when they actually mentioned me as a turtle guy. So turtle is definitely the way I teach. I teach day one, passive, then we build up the activity and blah, blah, blah. So I'm not saying that you have to be in a fight that passive. And the way turtle could work, one of the examples we have is Whittaker doing it in a fight. So check that out. And also one way to see what we can do is what Robbie Lawler did against Colby Covington. I recommend everybody check out that first round. He lost, and that's usually people's argument to dismiss the evidence. But how was Robbie Lawler able to survive against Colby? He was sitting a little bit against the wall, and protecting a little bit, not even much his head. He did pandas in that fight and all those things. And so my argument is we little bit have that, glimpse of evidence, what we all could do. My argument is also that Colby and Robbie Lawler, that piece was already enough evidence that if Colby couldn't punch him and, punch him in the face really strong, that's already a good evidence, because Colby is the guy that, likes to do that, doesn't hold himself back. And so that was a good test. And I don't know how Robbie knows that. And clearly it's not in that level in mainstream that more people would study it and do it. It's still, I'm not saying it's a fringe, but it's still, if you watch Hawkins and Baby Rich and all those things, I would like to think we are changing certain foundation of the escapes, and it will not happen fast. And the mainstream is not yet all aware what's, I would like to say egoistically, what's coming, but we are slowly going. I'm always afraid, so to speak. That's why I like to go slow and not go with the hype and all those things. That maybe I'm wrong, but slowly the train moves, and I will get the feedback. I will adjust. And so far, I don't know, let's say I'm right, and I have something to say. We can change certain things, and we'll see when they trickle down to mainstream, because clearly we need certain critical mass. And then from the mainstream, when those trickle down to MMA, And but there's evidence how it would work, and I would recommend those listeners to watch those matches.
Perfect. I also have a bunch of questions here that are technical questions, and I'm going to skip them. But I'm going to give them to you. But there's a couple of them that I think it's.
Ask me. Give me an example. What's the technical question?
First thing. I have to tell you this because it's really nice. From a guy on Instagram. I just want to say thanks to him for making my life easier, by the way. Can he explain, please, why he doesn't clap? I don't know what that part is.
Clapping in a class.
Yeah.
This is, I'm going to do it briefly. I don't know how polite it is to guide people towards next podcast that comes out. But I extensively talked about the clapping, 1, 2, 3, pump, clap. I don't like it. And there's a really big philosophical idea behind that. And we actually talked with Sonny Brown. He has a good podcast, Australian guy, Sonny Brown Martial Arts. And I think the podcast will come out tomorrow, today, something very, very close to this date.
And he has an amazing podcast, by the way.
Yeah,
you guys.
Yeah, he's very good, really good guy. And then we extensively talked about clapping and why I don't like it. And clearly I do myself okay, I explain, then I clap and go. But why this 1, 2, 3, pum, or 1, 2, pum? Why this is bad? And we talked about it, I think over at least half an hour, even more, I think, in the podcast. So to that listener, I would say, look for, today we don't have just time for that. It's a bigger argument. We have to answer those questions. And if you would like, sometimes, we could do a spin-off from this podcast.
Oh, I'd love to.
If some things, if some things are not solved, that I would love to come back and we can elaborate some, very narrow topic and go deeper. But at the moment, I would say look for that podcast, Sonny Brown, and you will get some answer.
Right. Then there is one of the technical questions you asked me to say, and I'll try this. So this person says, I try to turtle. The thought that you can just stand up changed my life. But motherfuckers can still lift me up. Why?
Those are good questions, because usually then I would say I would need to see a video. Because it's, lifting somebody up needs creating space between them. You kind of got grip, you stand up and kind of drag them up with you. It's kind of hard to lift them up when they're very close to you. You need certain slack happening. And then my answer is, like, if they stand up, why you're not attacking their legs, why you're sitting there, if they're moving around you. So sometimes the obvious answer would be people are there, sitting ducks, and top guy is not giving pressure, and then they don't recognize the pressure is off, and they still sit there, and top guy is doing something else already. Because picking up how, like, if they get a body lock, that means already, you give up the elbow space, they lock their arms. So, and if you really would stand up, I would probably hook one of your legs, that go to your legs, and that makes you trip a bit. You let go one arm. So it could be defensive reaction from there, but the easiest would be like, show me a picture, show me a video, and I try to answer. And also to all listeners is I'm sorry if I don't answer you right away, and if I forget, and I don't mind if you remind me of things after a week or so. Priit, remember I asked you a question? Because goddamn, I get so many messages these days.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah, so just I let people know that you can really go like, okay, if I don't answer you, I like, knock, Priit, remember me? I answered question, please. So I would try, but that's why also I like the site, the Defensive BJ, because maybe I'm more active there, and everybody goes there, and I can answer some questions, because right now they're just, sometimes I'm getting bombarded, and then I forget to answer, and it just takes so much time to answer them. And so I don't mind if people will knock. So let's go. Let's move on.
There is, so let's tell everybody that they should go to the Defensive website, so that they, I think you can build you already said you're going to build a sort of forum over there, right? Maybe there's a question and answer site place.
There is a forum. There is where you can load competition and the sparring footage. The community, hopefully, the idea is that community will comment, and also me. So, because clearly if somebody wants an hour of my time, that's why we have privates and stuff. But to give quick comments, people will comment, because I would like that. Clearly, in community, there's more people that are competent than me, enough that they can answer questions. And so why not? So it's not only me. So that was our idea, that to build community, and people can, get their roles narrated or questions answered by other people that already are, by me or by themselves already, if they've been with me, like roll with me and do my my system, they know how to answer them.
Awesome. I think it's beautiful. Let me see. I have one question, but I think we can leave it for the spin-off, because this is going pretty deep.
Cool.
I have noticed Priit mentions the approach to Jiu-Jitsu can be philosophical. Can he elaborate what is his philosophy on Jiu-Jitsu and training in general?
Oh shit!
Yeah, that's a whole fucking book.
Because it's a so general question.
I know.
Because philosophy can be basically anything.
Yes. I think we need another date for this one.
Let's say no. Oh. But so this is if you would like to have me on in some point, you can save that question. We can talk about it, and then because that person also who asked that question can go maybe back and send you another one and say what I actually meant, and maybe it's more narrow because it's a very general question, and because if it's very general, maybe I will not give them the answer about the section of the jiu-jitsu that they expect. Maybe I go blabber some other section I think is a philosophy jiu-jitsu, So they can specify their question, but I think it's a fun to go that because it's gonna flow everywhere. But I guess in a way you can also say, not lose. I like the saying that kind of fits the way I teach jiu-jitsu in that sense, and also what one of the Globetrotters, Alex, it's a data analyst, very intense guy. I like him. He said, why my things appeal, why my ideas are appealing to people and why they're using them, because people will rather not lose than win. Because winning is harder, and you have to learn how to win. Winning is actually hard to do, It's you can read. I'm not saying I have read tons of books about it, but you can read about it. But winning is a mindset. Winning is sometimes it's like a mindset change that if you're not used to winning, you're not even don't believe even you can win.
It does sound like something. It happened to me too. At some points in, let's give the comparison within competition in jiu-jitsu. I just give up. Just wanted to win because losing was easier. Because going with the mindset of winning was.
So for most people, like a good mindset for, let's say, for recreational people and the people I talk to, is they like it because not losing is easier than winning. And I'm not gonna say never that that if you do what I do and somebody is really annoyed with you, and then after that roll you go like, yes, that's a win. I think you can say it in your head and say it in the right context that yes, you did something. It was hard. You survived. But the point of the game is to learn how to attack back. That's the essence. But my job, I find, is to give people that ability to survive, so they can play the game and bit by bit start to attack back, because the winning is what I want you to get to. But without survival and knowing how to lose and fixing your mistakes, it's hard to get there. So I'm building that foundation so they could not get tapped 5 minutes left and right, but just they could survive and be in a game, be less injured, and finally learn to fight back. So because of course somebody can take it totally, we call it left, so to speak, not a political reference, to take it to the left that I only do this, and if I don't lose, then I win the fight. I guess in some way, I can understand there, but it's it's not nice to say. Yeah. But also that I usually say to people is this way of you survival skills and able to shut things down. This is the way you even out the fights. Because if somebody's super aggressive, and if you're lower level and you want to attack the same aggressiveness, you're going to lose because they're better. So if they're more aggressive and dangerous, you can.
I lost you for a moment, Priit.
So if they want to play,
and
I saw you. Oh, you're back. Okay, I don't know what happened and what's the point. What when did you lose me? So anyway, so the defensive side of things will help people to even out fights, because if somebody is super aggressive, you can shut down more, and and if they want to play with you because they're better, and you can go like, if you're better, I shut down more, so you can't play with me, because it's not competition. But if you want to play with me, be less aggressive or I shut down. So that's also a good equalizer for people, that if somebody that's better wants to roll with somebody that's less skilled, then they can't bully them, because they refuse to, they go to their trenches, and you don't enjoy rolling with them so much. So, and I say like, okay, tell them that they should lose their aggressiveness and we should just play. And then they come out of their shell because you calm down more. So I think it's a fun equalizer, and there are many benefits, but in no way I'm saying that, that's the end goal or stuff, but end goal is still to learn to win.
That's amazing. Now, I didn't see it like that. I saw it like a beautiful defensive way to set traps. That's how I was seeing it, but I didn't see everything yet that you made. But I was going into my position. If somebody's very explosive, cool. I'm going to set my traps, retreat.
But that's the stuff you can do, because if you very well, you can box with chin forward, you know?
Yeah.
Because you can open stuff up. And so if you have that defensive freedom, but that's another stage. If you do this, then you can play more open in a bottom, and even in bad positions, build traps. But that's already different interpretation of that stuff, because this is nothing you will teach to beginners. Yeah, so this is something you do yourself, because you know the risks. And then what I always say, if you understand what I'm teaching, and if you get it, then you have to break all the rules after that, and make it your own, make it work, because clearly you know what I'm teaching. You're past that, so now go figure out, break all the rules, do whatever you want.
Perfect. Oh, that's amazing. Priit, our time, also for me, is going out, is ending.
Right now?
No, it's we have a couple more minutes.
Oh.
And then because you said what time? 4:00?
4:00. If we finish 4:00, it would be awesome.
Oh no, I completely misunderstood. I thought you said 14.
What do you mean 14?
I saw 2:00, because now it's, what time is it there?
No, we started 2:00.
2:00.
It was 2:00 my time. So it's
I knew there was something wrong. So it's 3:00 now.
Yeah, so it's I'm okay with, like, if we do it 4:00 to Estonian time. So we have 40 minutes.
Oh. How?
You have time?
Oh, we have shit tons of time.
Okay, then it's the 4:10 something. We have like already, or almost, let's say, even 50 minutes.
All right. Now I'm not going to take that much time from you, I believe.
Go. Let's go.
Let's go. When was the last time you tapped in sparring? People have these questions. These white.
I remember it, because it was that blonde kid, 15-year-old blonde kid in Raul's gym.
Oh.
And so I stood up, and he had a good grip. And, I can say I played with him, because clearly I know what I can do. But the way I'm pushing the envelope already, so I play way more differently, because I want to find out more. And this is the way also I tap and find out. So props to that 15-year-old beginner that thinks he's a beginner and clearly is not. And so that was, I think, the last time we rolled. I rolled, I think, competitively enough, and that's the last thing I remember, I think. Yeah. All
right. I tapped yesterday about 3-4 times. Stupidly. I have to train more. That's my problem. Oh God, I think we went through most of the questions. Raul says hi, because there's a lot of questions. I had a lot of questions, but a lot of, like, I had 5 questions going like, does it work in MMA? Does it work in the streets? Would you go defensive in the street situation?
So the argument is super weird. So all those questions are showing that I'm misunderstood. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, that's fun that people don't get it, you know.
Yeah.
So the point.
That's why we're doing this. We try to make it people understand it a little bit.
I understand. So this is what I'm doing. I'm not gonna say that this is what you should choose. There's a reason why I do that, because, like I said, it's underfunded, understudied, and the information about the escapes can be way more technical as open guard development, as guard passing development, you know, because clearly the grips changes, all the technicalities and stuff. And what comes to escapes, they're less developed. Yeah, we don't develop them that much compared to how much we study leg locks and guards and guard passes. Yeah. So, or when somebody has their back and how to attack from back. So usually you don't see reverse defensive studies. If somebody is my back, how do I undo everything he does? So you don't have those kind of instructionals out, you know. And if they are, they're just the technical level is totally different. And so that is my argument. I'm not going to say in a street fight, pull turtle. In a street fight, I'm saying, think about this. Like in MMA, you would box way ferociously if you know you have takedown defense. So without the ability to have a takedown defense, ability to stay on your feet, and knowing that even a good wrestler has a hard time taking you down, you're not going to punch hard. Yeah? Because it's like you want to have that on your back pocket, the defense, but you also want to never use it. So the argument will be, why do I need it? Exactly. That is a philosophical dichotomy. You need it to not use it. And if you ever use it, you better have it in a very high level. Yeah. So that's why you have to train it. You definitely need to you expose yourself and people see more attacks and you use way more attacks. So defense is kind of like a spear, end of the spear, that you rather not use, but you have to train it in a higher level than if you do use it, that you have to find the quickest right answer the fastest. But to find the quickest answer the fastest, you would have to have a very big experience pool. So that's the really weird dichotomy that people don't get it, that why do I have to spend so much on time? Because quick decision to escape requires so much experience you don't even realize. Yeah, because if somebody is passing and they're really good and you haven't trained your escapes, what is the likelihood of you picking in a quickest spot, picking the right answer because you haven't trained it at all? You will do the lousiest answer. So what's the trouble with people is they don't want to spend, they don't think that it's worth spending their time on this, because why not just make guard better? If that would be true, we wouldn't see guard passes. We wouldn't see back takes, yeah? Clearly, that's a wonderful idea that, oh, I just make my guard better and my problems are solved. I don't have to escape any time. If that would be true, then we do an experiment. We watch life. Yeah, we watch life and we go like, okay, but life works differently. We see back takes, we see guard passes. Yeah, in the highest level of competition, then we better prepare for that life. So that's why experiment always has to correlate with the reality. Not that we see in life back takes and everything happen, but we don't train we don't train escapes because we're making our guard good. You understand? There's a cognitive dissonance there.
It makes also sense. The moment the more I watched the training and the more I tried the whole stuff, it made sense to me. Of course, in a way, the movements in themselves weren't new to me. What was new to me was the approach about thinking about them, seeing them, doing them for once, and having an actual everything divided and shown in a beautiful and nice way. Also, it's a little bit weird because I usually we fought our asses off not to get anybody into that passing position. When it was done, once they passed, we didn't have the escapes. How do I say this? That you're showing in this way right now. I know. We knew what we should do. We knew after making a million mistakes that don't roll that way if he's doing this, or don't show this part of your back if he's doing that, and still get caught. But now this time it's actually, it's shown in a way that I'm going to like, oh, I already did this, but I never thought about it in a progressive form. Like break it down into what he's doing to me. So if he's doing all that, how do I break things down so that it doesn't work? How do I?
So that's the point, that I don't think it's going backwards. Like people feel, oh, but I don't want to train escapes and I don't see value in them. And I guess it's also a failure in my part to make a logical argument. But sometimes I actually find that logical arguments are, for people, they don't sound so logical. They just have, I don't like it. The last argument that most people have is just, I don't like it. And then it's like, dude, it's like, you're not invited to the adult table anymore after this, You just weed yourself out because you just clearly, there's evidence that you have to consider, and you go like, no, I don't like it. And then usually I stop conversation because there's no point. So, but that's why I do this, because So whatever we talked, what was the talk right now? What was the question?
Yeah, I was going into. We made a question about when was the last time it just. And we went all over this. Would it work in the street? Remember? And
yeah. Okay.
MMA, and then we stopped that. And then I got into the point of view that, like, for me, it was finally put in a way that it had like a sequence to why I should. And I learned the hardest way, you might say, a very good way to escape stuff, and that is by making all the mistakes I could. I got tapped, and then eventually I was like, maybe I shouldn't roll that way. Maybe I shouldn't give my back that way.
So when I came back, so people usually think that, I promote this way of rolling, and it's a really silly thing to actually witness that people say, but would you do it MMA also, or would you do it in the street? It's like, of course not. This is the one area of jiu-jitsu I'm studying. Yeah. And if you need escapes, I hope you turn to that information, and when you ever need that, but I hope you never do, because your guard is so awesome. But when you see the evidence, real life, you will see back takes happen. So why not study them? Well, because clearly the back taker is studying the back takes way more than you studying the escapes, because they're doing all the back takes drills and stuff. But we could do a counter study. We could be equal actually there. Yeah. So we both have equal amount of chances. I philosophically, I think so. So, and then that's what I have hard time, the message getting through to people, that why would you do it? Would you not want to feel like a king in that sense? Like, I'm not referring to Gordon Ryan in a way, but you just feel like a top of the world when somebody gets to it, you're super calm as you were in a guard. Would you not want that, And then you know that you're not in trouble. I've trained this, I'm confident and everything else. And then you do your stuff, you escape or whatever. So what I see usually, it's a clear level change after somebody gets past guard, even in the highest level. You see this, they train them guard, they go to turtle, and you see clear a level change. Like they're different beasts. Maybe
because it's still because of the point system. If I remove point system, and I would go into competition and I remove the whole point system idea, I would definitely change my game. So I would think like this: if I were not fighting in anything where like passing and stuff like that gave points, I'd probably fight completely defensively. I'd fight on a basis of, okay, let's see whose cardio dies first. Because
rules make fights, but that doesn't mean that I don't find that people have good arguments to why not your escape should not be the highest level they can be. So there's no argument against it, but just I find people don't like to train them because they feel they're spending their time more valuable by getting their guard better, because the resource as a time is limited. Yeah. So why they're spending like a half time that they want to get in good escapes, they could be just good in guard, So I find that argument that people have to really digest within them. And also I would say, I think if information could be better in those defensive areas, because I think we can have better and way more studied answers with postures and stuff, then we don't have to maybe do a 50-50. Maybe it's 30 and 2/3, and maybe it's something like the 1/3 and 2/3. 2/3 you do your attacks and stuff, develop your areas, and 1/3 you play escapes. But if the information is not,
I'd say even more. But
if the information is even broken, and if it's not the best information available, that 30 is not enough. You need way more. So that's why I'm like, let's not give people cross-face underhooks, and let's not stop, flat on their backs. There is a side prevention system there. That's part of a little bit like a guard retention system, but you can treat it like a side control retention, because there's a different side control also without the grips. And then there's side control with, underhooks and cross-face grips. It's like the same in turtle. Turtle, not every turtle is a seatbelt. You're in turtle and then you play. But the turtle doesn't have to come always with a seatbelt turtle, So there is that kind of open side stuff also. and then things get worse, and then it depends on you if they get it or you give it away, or you can also avoid it. So there's more to it, and definitely defensive part. Maybe this is my attempt also to get more people interested in this, because it's fun to study if you get to a certain level, because it is a little bit harder, more harsh road to take.
Yeah.
And if you have to get good at this, you will march forward. But to start with this, it looks like a road with a lot of misery,
It started to dawn on me how the high level guys, and we're talking about the ones we see in competition and everything like that, how they are just escape artists, and how you are putting this into, like, do you remember first time Roger against Buchecha?
I think I only remember nicely the Metamoris fight, but I don't know what maybe you're talking about.
Yeah, Roger Gracie versus Marcos Buchecha.
Yeah, when was it? Is it a Metamoris or?
There was two of them. So the second one, Roger won. The first one, they said, was a tie. But the escape he does from an armbar and a leg lock in there, Roger does, it hurts my soul. I mean, I was like, oh my God, please tap eventually. But he didn't. He turned out of it like a hero.
Because this is the escape I teach. I can teach that to white belts.
And it was like the escape that Gordon Ryan did against Craig Jones, that took a while. That I was like, everybody was like, how did he not tap to that? And these are things that if you go deep into it and you watch the fights, you see these guys are master escape artists. They are like.
But I agree, because the fun part is there's so many guys that are good in escapes, but now it's over generalization, and but I would say it's hard for those guys to pass on their knowledge of escaping, because I think many times it's not systemized. It's not it's not easy to pass on as a group. I think maybe if you have a lot of one-on-one and everything else, you work with somebody, then you can fix them. But they're always the challenge, and I think it's a level of something understanding is, can you teach it to the group? And so the group will understand, not like one person from the group that can do it, but most of the groups can do it, and maybe one can't, So can this escaping thing that people know, good guys, that's why I get inspired by them, because they pull those things off. And then I'm always left like this, that why we're not studying what they did, and go because people maybe sometimes study moves. Oh, he did that move. Oh, some YouTube breakdowns, that move. But that's not the most important thing, because moves will not help you. But what system is this move apart? How, let's say, if I do my arm bars, it's like the escaping is the easiest. The body positioning and all those things are the most important. And then you can add different escapes to that system. And if I see a new escape, then it's like, oh, that far away fits to my body positioning, and I can pull it off because I have that foundation. It's like, if you have a boxing movement, that you can move left and right and shuffle and sidestep and everything else. To teach you any combination of punches you will see some boxer do, is super easy, because you have already that delivery system. But imagine that you only can go forward, and somebody shows you a sidestep in a boxing. You go like, that move doesn't fit my system. But then your system is wrong, because if we see that sidestep working continuously in a fight, that means that your system doesn't allow this sidestep to happen. Then you have to admit that your system is too narrow and not as fundamental as you thought. It's nothing wrong with being a narrow system, but then you have to go, there's something more fundamental under that narrow system that includes maybe that movement. Yeah. So my thing is actually, what I'm fascinated about is find the most fundamental game. We call them 0 points, trenches, like in a war. Then let's say armbar also, that I can take any escape and I can add it to the system, and the foundation is not changed. If I can do that, and if I find a new escape that doesn't fit into the system, and we see the escape works, and my 0 points and stuff, they cannot explain it, the existence of that escape, then my system is limited. We have to change the system. So that would accompany, that system would include that escape that we feel that works in a high, enough good level. So this is the way I think about jiu-jitsu. And also this is the way I think about, let's say, side control escapes. Let's say, that weird side control escape when you're in side control, somebody's on their knees, and you reach with a hook behind and grab their, shin bone.
Yes.
With a hook. Yeah. So this is super hard to do when you're flat. Yeah, because you would need a crazy inward rotation from the hip joint. So that shows that escaping this position this way cannot be the first thing you teach to people. Because the most fundamental escaping system should include, more things. Because this cross-face underhook and your flat is already a very specific, narrow system that also is escapable, but it's already too narrow. There's a more broader side control position that allows different kind of inverts, those hooks, what I talk about. And then let's say, if you teaching jiu-jitsu like this with frames, and this is your system of escapes, and then you see that hook, and then you go like, but that hook doesn't fit my system. And this is why also people don't teach that hook, because it doesn't fit their understanding of escapes, because it seems like, oh, this is a goofy move that flexible people do. Mm-hmm. They don't understand, their understanding of the system is limited. And they go like, okay, people before me did this, and I don't challenge that. I'm saying if that hook doesn't fit that system, the system is wrong as it's too narrow. We have to have some fundamental, more underlying system that will explain. Yeah, that explain the existence of that escape. So because if it's clearly functional, people should do it more. Not everybody, but it should be in a game, So I'm after those systems that underlines everything. And so all things can happen. And then you can specialize of, okay, we have this grip, more narrow, system. This grip, more narrow things. But what's the broad one? So this is the way I think about jiu-jitsu.
The way it encapsulates and everything. That's beautiful.
Yeah. And so, because I want you to understand, because otherwise, not you, but the people, otherwise you live inside somebody's bubble. Because imagine that I don't know anything but this.
Oh, I've lived for years in that bubble.
And I limit, then the coaches are limiting people's expressions.
It was a thing that traveling did help. Traveling around did help, because coming around to meeting people and seeing these new ideas did help a lot in the case of opening my mind and seeing that there's a lack of some stuff. And this thing of you going like, let's go into a fundamental that is more fundamental, more encapsulating in everything is what we needed. I think. But I do love it. I do love the work you're doing.
I think it's that's why I'm always afraid as a coach that if my bubble is the smallest, then people cannot find out what they can find out about themselves, because I limit my expression of jiu-jitsu will limit their findings, Mm-hmm. So I want that my framework to be the biggest, that all kinds of things can happen and they can choose it for themselves, not that I limit their options already by my understanding. So that's one of my fears. So that's why I like extremes. That's why I like the super late arm bars, because then everything else is earlier. If I find out the last bit, then I know the framework. And then we can put everything between also, So that's why I like also that's why the super late side corner escapes are important. That very narrow fields are also important. But the way we teach maybe beginners, we shouldn't start with the narrow maybe, yeah? We shouldn't, you don't start teaching side control escapes by putting people in arm bars, So first, let them avoid the arm bar, let them avoid the cross-face underhooks, and then things can go worse. Not like we teach them to give everything away and then they complain jiu-jitsu is hard.
I understand. The one thing I did started doing, and I did try it a couple of times, and I must say I enjoyed the hell of it, was teaching backwards. Yeah. So going from what did we do? We did. You were teaching that, and you were showing that in the seminar using an omoplata, And then we worked kind of our way a little bit backwards, like worked our way into the position and stuff like that. I did the same thing. I tried it with the Americana. So we put an Americana. I said, guys, try to escape this shit.
Yeah.
Just go for it. And then we worked backwards and backwards and backwards and backwards and backwards. And I could see it dawn on people like halfway through the class. Oh, this is what we're doing. And I of course, I talked, I gave the credit where credit was due. I said, guys, you have to watch Priit. You have to go online. You have to, like, if you have questions, come over to me, send me a message and stuff like that. I'll guide you through it. But you have to look it up. You have to do your research right now.
The backwards it's really crazy that a lot of books actually are talking about the backwards methodology.
Yeah.
But it's so weird that it's not even close to being a mainstream. And, the Marcelo MG Action site founder, the chess guy, I am very bad with names. He talked about it extensively.
I can get it. If you wait 1 second. Oh, Andra, what's the name of the chess guy from the Marcelo Garcia? Josh Whiteskin, right?
Yeah.
Whiteskin, right?
Whiteskin.
Is it Whiteskin or Whiteskin? How racist are we going to be tonight? Whiteskin.
Yeah. So he was talking
member of the KKK, apparently.
This,
no.
with this backward methods, you can teach. You can teach chess to most everybody. That also keeps them very engaged because you can play. You have a king, pawn, and a king, and let's play chess. And then you build up complexity from the most certain to the less certainty. And this way, teaching jiu-jitsu makes all the sense in the world. I teach, submissions like this. I teach passes like this. I teach also, in a way, sweeps like this. People tend to use sweeps also this way because they kind of like but I will start from some stage that's already falling, and then I work backwards in a way. I think I would think about this because in a beginning stage of the sweep, they just shift their hips and sweep doesn't work anymore, So I have to get to the point where the certainty of sweep is already landing for over 60-70%. So. And this is, this is when coaches hear that, they go like, shit, it's interesting. And then they do their own tests. And then like, yeah, this makes sense. And why, why not more people are talking about it? And it's not like I invented that. It's just read any book that talks about teaching. There's definitely some cases it makes sense to go forward. But a lot of cases and more cases that people actually would think it makes sense to teach backwards from most certainty to less certainty. And this also I'm a very big proponent of the better class structure overall and not doing 20-30 minutes warm-ups, but this kind of methodology also and feedback loops and everything else should be a big part of that, every jiu-jitsu class, so to speak, because every kind of sports book you pick up, everybody talks. You have to get as much feedback as you get for your technique all the time. Every engineering kind of mechanism you build, it's all about the feedback to build the efficiency up. So why we're not using the feedback like this? Because clearly coach cannot monitor 20, 30 people, to give them individual feedback. So that's why I have with a partner, we go like, what was good, what can be better. So everybody talks to each other and I understand, I see the overall mistakes, And then most everybody feels included to the class because they get feedback towards their doings, It's not like overall kind of like, oh, everybody did this. So you want to have individualized feedback, And so there's many, many methodologies that I think jiu-jitsu can benefit. And this could be a topic for another totally specific podcast that I think there's you saying that jiu-jitsu is getting better and there's a leap coming, and techniques and youngsters coming up and the jiu-jitsu techniques and everything. But I think as a club, definitely I'm not a business guy that talks about how to run a club as a business. But I think running the classes better will keep more people happy. And less people will quit because they feel that they're getting better. They understand their goals. They can pull stuff off. They survive better. And I think as a community, we have so much to win from there. And then if we learn more to do business also, what jiu-jitsu schools should learn, how to run a business, not like run a club because all it barely makes it, So there's clearly better ways to have a sham business and then more like a humane business,
That's true.
And so we can also have it there like a leap. So our sport gets better, our teaching gets better, our community gets bigger. In a way we can take over, and so why not? So, but again, it's a slow burn, and so that's why I like the slow burn, that we meet enough resistance, and then I can talk to people, debate them, and get through to some coaches, and they will start to implement those things, and slowly it grows, because it is a bit like what I'm saying. It's a weird, but for me it's not. But I understand for a lot of people it's a bit like a paradigm shift, the way you should do things. And because I don't come from the famous lineage, I would like to say I'm self-taught. Somebody gave me a black belt, but I'm still, I did it basically because I was in Estonia, and if I see somebody twice a year, I think a coach would be something personal, that you work with them, every week or whatever, So I appreciate people that help me, but I'm mostly had to figure stuff out on my own, the answers and turtles and grilled chicken and everything I do. It's like my thinking process brought them to life.
It's genius. It's genius, I must say. I came from something different. I had and what helped me a lot, and I don't know, and I'm talking a little bit this might not be the answer for everybody, but to a lot of people. When I came back from Brazil, I had a constant feedback from a bunch of black belts. I was in a gym that was part of a group that met every day in the afternoon, and I had 30 black belts around me constantly, at least. So if I fucked up, they would scream from the other side of the gym, say, "What are you doing, porra?" And go do something. You understand? So when I came here to the Netherlands, I didn't have that anymore. It was gone. I didn't have all my teachers. I didn't have all my mentors, all my friends, and all this stuff like that. And it was gone. And something that did help me a lot is what you said, and of course what Chris Payne went into during the seminar. And I thought it was wonderful, like being self-taught. I never really thought about it. And it does give me a lot of confidence in seeing you guys doing it, and doing it so freaking well, by the way, to actually go ahead and take the plunge and be a little bit more independent.
I guess, I'm happy that I could do it, because clearly I have a job right now and everything else. But also I think one of my things is I do this that other people don't have to do it, because it is faster. It is faster to evolve in a field when certain things are clear and you can just go and do your stuff. It's hard to, when certain things are not working well, and that's the stuff that hinders you, And if certain things are fixed, it's easier to just go launch yourself forward and figure stuff out, So what I'm trying to do also to push, to make sure that the next generation has better understanding of escapes, and evolution still happens, and next ones will be better than the previous ones. So then I think I've achieved I achieved one of the goals, that we don't degenerate, so to speak. But I think that also that's the way also I like to teach the way I like, because giving people answers, I think it's one way, not because of you, it's one way to make them lazy. Intellectually lazy, I think it's very wonderful when you have, not every question should be, earned like this. Some can be given, and, not every question is like, oh, go think about it 10 years and come back, we'll have a discussion. But I think that's why it's like, when I show stuff, okay, think about what would be the answer. And they think about themselves at first. And then I kind of guide them, and then I also show them the answer, but I also challenge them a little bit, like, oh, what would I do myself? And then I show them something. Many people go, oh, I actually thought something similar. So I don't make I don't make them sleepy, so to speak. I encourage their learning and self-thinking, because anyway, after a certain purple belt level, you kind of on your own, you have to solve your own problems. So everything before that has to prepare people for the self-taught, self-teaching. Because if you just spoon-fed till the purples and stuff, and you go like, but now what? Who makes me a black belt? You go like, no, it's your job. So it's like a spoiled brat, you know. You make them 18, and they never lifted anything in their life, you know. They thought everything is entitled, you know. And those kind of society members are dangerous.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
So in jiu-jitsu, I think, you know, as a parent, some answers you give, some answers you make them earn, and you make them earn the value of money. You know, as a nothing grows on trees. And so in jiu-jitsu also, like, you challenge them a little bit, you give them boundaries, you let them play, let them play, like, find out what they like, what kind of decision, let them solve some very minuscule problems, you know, on their own, that the big picture stays the same, but they can solve some problems to gain the experience, you know, not to give them too much problems. So, and all this will prepare them for them getting to black belt, because in some time they will have to take over, because they have to solve their own problems and really get there, because clearly it's not a technical ability after purple to black. It's more like a confidence, it's timing, it's problem. So I find if we don't do that, we're just creating people that will quit in some point. They are not ready to solve problems. They're always like, give me the answer, you know, because the answers are not any more straightforward after a while. So we have to prepare people for that. And I know people want certainty, may live my life for me. No. You have to get there.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I think we have, most of the questions are gone. I did see that Raul says hi.
Hi, Raul.
And there's also a question he asks: what would be the thing he will ask Telles first when he meets him?
I think I would giggle like a small kid, because I never met him. Clearly, I don't want to, put him in a pedestal too much, but clearly that I was lucky that he caught my eye, and I know that many people will exclude him from the conversation because that's Telles and that doesn't matter, and he loses fights. And I was like, dude, you don't see the evidence that pretty much nobody can take his back. How is that not a valuable thing to study? You know, so probably I would honestly, I just probably would shake his hand, and just thank you. And I don't think there's much to say. So I've been told that he's not very that aggressive. Spreading his turtle. He's a nice guy. And people have told me that I'm actually way more aggressive about, spreading my ideas and fighting for ideas of turtle, and making people question those dogmas that don't show your back, and turtle is a transitional position, all those things. And Telles has been more like a doer and not so much a promoter, and I'm happy that I can do that and help also people notice him, because we don't know how long he's active anymore and what he does. And if we can't solve that guy out, like totally, I think we're going to have a big information dump, like a level drop, because he clearly understands something that many people don't. And it's only basically like one guy in the world that can do it in the highest level. So we have to study him. We have to, get to him. And we have to, there's DVDs about it, but I think maybe seeing what he does, or even close, or meeting him once, or seeing him from the distance, kind of like how he rolls, would even, provide me more information, and even rolling with him also, just to see how he moves. And so we'll see what happens. But I would just go like, I was shaking out, because he was the guy that went a little bit against the tide. And he would just goes like, I don't like to play guard. My guard gets passed, go to turtle. And probably he took some backlashes. People were like, oh, why turtle? And he played turtle weirdly. He just pulled people to turtle in the matches. He did turtle pulls. because 10 years ago, I think, or something, the rolls from turtle and takedowns were points. So his game a little bit made also sense. But clearly he was the guy that also went against the norm. And those people I always appreciate, because it takes guts to go there. And because of him, and probably there's more turtle people, but he's the most known. And because of him, we have access to that information and evidence that is actually not easy to take. So I really definitely hats off, and and he could actually pull it off. And he's a no-gi world champ, I think, adults and stuff. So he has credentials. So it's not like he can pull it off. So it's I'm getting rallied up when I talk about him, but he's one of the guys that I really look up, and I'm thankful that he exists.
Yeah, but he's amazing. I believe I understand it, dude. It was amazing. We have our time now, definitely. Cool. I want to know, what does the future look like?
Oh shit!
I know. Short, because your time is up, man.
I'm actually, if I say scared, I don't mean like I'm shaking, but Monday is a defensive BJJ launch, online stuff. All eyes are on me. I have to deliver. People have said, "Don't worry about it; it will work." I was like, "I don't know," and probably the interest is big. We have almost 600 emails or something that people have not paid but signed up and show the interest. And some already are functioning in a site. So definitely, but future is open, because I don't know if everything goes down, the Corona stuff, and then I get back to traveling. I can back to working on my apartment. I can go back to roll, back to see the world, back to work on my site. And so the future is, I would say, let's call it right now, bright, and a lot of work ahead. But what else I'm gonna do? So.
It looks amazing, man. Yeah. Looking from here, it looks shiny, beautiful, and amazing. I think you're going to do great, my man.
Yeah. So
you already are. You're already way up there. I would even go as far to call you the John Danaher of Europe.
I guess I'm not going to...
You talk better, because I have a personal hate towards Danaher because of his weird way of talking, and I love the way you do. The way you explain it, it's immediately clear. It's immediately...
Okay. Thank you.
Don't go into the weird stuff.
Yeah. So I appreciate the exposure. This is because clearly, that I always say, podcast, you guys have a responsibility to bring value to your listeners. You don't want to get anybody in a podcast that will, kind of badmouth something or that doesn't advance the art or give value to your listeners. So I appreciate people with podcasts allowing me to have a voice and to express my ideas and reach more people through that. And so if I reach 1 or 100, what doesn't matter, but I still reach, and I think it's a really nice sign of respect that I get to, talk to you in that sense through that medium. I really appreciate it.
It was a huge honor. It was amazing. You have no idea how happy I am to have this moment with you. It really is. From not knowing who you are to completely falling in love after I heard the Hawking thing, to watching all the videos and watching all the thing, and it dawning on me that you opened up this new path in Jiu-Jitsu for not only me, but I believe also a bunch of other people. I can see them methodically and almost OCD-like, some people at 10th Planet going panda, roll, everything like that. It's amazing. It's amazing. So the influence you have is definitely a very, very deep one, and a very
Thank you.
One. And I'm gonna try that shit. I'm gonna try it. I'm definitely gonna try it in the next competition. I'll send you all the footage, and you're gonna tell me everything that went wrong. I would love it.
That's a deal. Let's do it.
Yes, I'm gonna end it right now, but just afterwards, we could talk a little bit, and then
cool.
For now, for the people watching and listening, this was Priit Mihkelson, the Great. Back, giver and taker, the man, the future. It's here right now. Thank you very much, Priit. Cauliflower Philosophy would like to take a moment and thank our wonderful and beautiful sponsors. First, Mother Nature, for creating the cauliflower, the symbol of our resistance and our unification in this world.
Secondly, I would like to thank the people that lend us this space. Baye Pay. It's here in Amsterdam. Wonderful coffee, wonderful atmosphere, just all around peaceful. Thank you from the depths of our hearts. Also, I would like to once again address my candidacy for the presidency of Choke&Chill. That's it. Choke&Chill is just that amazing that I think they deserve me as a president. Exceptional rash guards, exceptional shorts. And that's what I believe in. I believe that rash guards should be strong, that boots should be dirty, that freedom should be free, and that bald eagles should fly over everybody's house every morning at sunrise. Choke&Chill. If you believe in freedom, then you believe in Choke&Chill. I would also like to thank Monkey Tape for keeping things together. Monkey Tape, keeping things together. It's a play on words. You'll get it. Thank you, Monkey Tape. Thank you also to Grip 020. He had made me squat so much that I'm more amphibious now than I have ever been in my life. I'm partially frogman just because of that much squatting and strength training. Thank you, Grip. You're an amazing guy. And that's it. Also, thank you, ATC. If it wasn't for you, this would have never started. We had never known each other, and we had never grown to be this awesomely strong community. The place, a home, outside of our own home. Eat more cauliflowers. Thank you very much.